hello, 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 hello. Okay, so I'm sure you guys can already tell there's something weird going on back here. What is this? What are all these little things back here? This, of course, is my little garden that I'm starting for vegetables for this year, and a little bit of fruit, I guess, too, because there are some strawberries in there. Today's video, I realize I talk a lot about my plants on my channel, but I have not been showing them. So I figured today I was just about to take care of the plants for the day, give them some water, some love, and some TLC. So I figured, why shouldn't I bring you guys along and let you see? But first and foremost, we have this. And what is this? It just looks like grass, but you know what's cool? Look at all the roots down there. I saw that a little while after I had planted this, and I was astonished because, to tell you the truth, I planted this. This is the second batch of cat grass that I have grown for Tilly, my cat. She really enjoys it. But I just planted this like 5 days ago, maybe even 4 days ago, and it is already this big. It has crazy root systems. It is actually supposed to be planted in a shallow dish like this, so don't come after me for the roots looking like that. But I just planted this a few days ago. It's basically a barley mix. It's supposed to be very good for my cat Tilly. She enjoys eating it. Mostly she just plucks them out and drops them in here because she can't get them every time. But it's supposed to be really good for her digestion, for her coat. There are a lot of benefits, and she really just has fun with it. When I water it, she likes to come and lick all the water, lick all the water off of the grass. But one reason I'm doing this, it is not just for the sounds, but these are plants that I'm growing indoors, so they do not really experience wind and weather, things like that. So it's a good idea to run your hands over them to simulate sort of a rough weather environment. For me, for this plant specifically, I'm doing this because I don't want Tilly to be able to rip the whole root out when she takes a bite of this. So I'm trying to strengthen the roots here, and hopefully then she'll just be able to eat off the top without ripping the whole piece out. But that is Tilly's cat grass. She loves it. She loves to snack on it. And I'll put it over here, and you never know, she might come up in the middle of the video and start eating the cat grass. So that has also helped her to not eat all these other plants. We do keep them in a separate room with the door locked so that she doesn't come and eat our entire garden. But it does help that she has her own little greens that she can eat, so she's less attracted to ours. I will start with the lush tray of tomatoes that I have here. Okay, alright, these little babies, get a good look, are my tomato plants. And I have the white that you are seeing sticking out is actually a label that I have on them, and it tells me what type of tomatoes I have. So I have Amish tomatoes, delicious tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, and Chardonnay peppers, which they have not begun to germinate yet. They are still nothing, and they may not grow. So this tray of seeds, I talked a lot in past videos about how all of my seeds are heirloom variety. Well, these are not, these are just regular seeds that my fiance's grandma wanted me to start for her. So these really are more for her. I'm starting these because she does not have a grow light and she grows a lot of tomatoes herself. So we are doing her favor growing these for her. And so these are not our heirloom tomatoes. Obviously, you know, I might still eat these and enjoy these if she makes something. I have no problem. They're grown organically, and they're perfectly good seeds, but it's just not what we went for with our garden. We did everything heirloom, and I actually need to do a little bit more planting today after I do this part of the video. Or this part of the process that I will be filming. I'm gonna start a few more plants today after I finish this, but for now I'll just show you what I already have. So this tray here also has the little labels. Sorry for all the squeaks. So this one, as you can see, is not so far along. I planted these maybe a week later than the tomatoes that you just saw, and these are not all tomatoes, so that's why they might look a little different. But here on this side we have some red wine tomatoes, the little bitty ones that you really don't see here in the middle. They are just barely sprouting. There's one here close to my face that has sprouted, but these are white tomatoes, and this whole tray is the heirloom variety, but these are white tomatoes. I'm pretty interested to see. I actually did not purchase those. The company that I get my seeds from, all of your purchases, if you buy, I think, you know, if you buy a few packets of seeds, they give you a free seed, and you don't know what it's going to be. They just send it to you. So the white tomato was actually the free seed that they sent to me. And here on this side, the little skinny ones with the little black seed at the top, these are yellow Parma onions, and they just kind of look like grass right now, nothing crazy, but they are supposed to be good for storing long term. So I was reading a little bit online about these onions, and it said that people who had grown these harvested them in the summer and the fall, and the next spring when it was time to plant more, they still had some that they were storing in their root cellars in their basements that were still perfectly fresh. So these are very good for long-term storage. Things like potatoes, onions, squash, like a butternut squash, things like that, they do store for quite a long time anyway, but I'm looking for the longest storage we can possibly get so that we can grow as many as possible and not have to go back to the store in the winter months and buy onions. And the last little seedlings you're seeing here at the end are Syrian eggplant. I do really enjoy making things like baba ganoush and eggplant parmesan, so these eggplant are going to be perfect for stuffing and roasting and all of my eggplant needs. So right now, obviously, they're pretty boring. They're just little seeds, but they are going to be beautiful little eggplant. So I ran out of, I didn't want to continue buying these trays that we have here, so I just ended up using anything I could. I need them to be in some sort of tray because I do like to do some bottom watering, which is where I would put the water in the actual tray and let it soak in from the bottom through the roots. And doing that is a good way to help the roots want to grow down to the bottom and reach down for the water, and that will give you a stronger plant in the end. Also, it helps from getting too much water on the leaves and things, which could cause some mold issues. But here, these leafies that we've got going on here, these are some of the first things that I planted inside, and these are Dutch cabbage. So There's something called getting leggy, which is where your plants are very long and skinny, and I'm concerned about some of them looking a little leggy, but the leaves are really starting to look good, so I'm not super concerned. And I've never grown cabbage from seed like this before, so it's possible that, you know, maybe it's just supposed to have sort of a long stem. But here we have more cabbage, and these little bitty ones you're seeing in the front, these are celery. So they are very small. They're supposed to be a very reliable grower. So I'm excited to have some celery. I don't like eating raw celery very much. It's not something I enjoy, but I do put celery in almost every soup that I make, so it's good to have celery. And if I need to enjoy some raw celery, I'm sure I can find a way. But here we have, in the middle of the celery, because I did end up moving some of this around when it ended up on this tray, we have some of my shishito peppers. And I will show you those. I have more of them in the other tray, so I'll just show you those over there. But yes, cabbage, celery, and peppers here in this tray. I'm gonna have to scoot back a little bit to grab these. Okay. And actually some of those are broccoli, I'm pretty sure. They are not all cabbage. There was cabbage and broccoli. And then here I have some more broccoli. This is not a regular broccoli that you might see where it all grows in one big crown of broccoli and you pluck that broccoli and your plant is kind of done. This is Rapini broccoli, and that means that you can harvest the leaves and eat the leaves, and it grows little flowers of broccoli all over the plant. So I will harvest the little pieces of broccoli over and over, and it will continue to grow. So I'll get more of a crop from this, but it is, some people say, a little more bitter than normal broccoli, a little more like a Brussels sprout flavor, but I love Brussels sprouts, so that's okay. So that's my broccoli, and here I'm really proud of how these shishito peppers are turning out. They do not look very leggy at all to me. I think they're doing really well. So these peppers, I had a friend that I met in college, and he mentioned that he likes, he really enjoys these type of peppers specifically. He found them at a restaurant he really liked. But so I ended up buying seeds. We loved them. I think I've grown them 2 years now. Not this heirloom variety, but a different, just organic shishito pepper. But I love these. They are very prolific, which means they're gonna give me like 20 peppers from each plant every time I pick them. They are not, some of them rarely can be hot, but I don't think they're spicy for the most part. They're just a green pepper. Some of them do turn red. Those are usually the spicy ones. But for the most part, they're just green peppers. Skinny, you know, long peppers, and I like to saute them in olive oil and some lemon juice with some sea salt on them, and they're really good, you guys. It sounds like a weird way to eat peppers. It's not something I would normally do, but it's very good. Very, very, very good. One of my favorite little snacks. I'm excited, and I think I might end up trying to make pickled peppers and preserve them, maybe sell them. So that's something I'm thinking about doing with those, since I think I'm gonna have an abundance of those. And I have 2 more things to show you back here. Okay. So this is broccoli that used to be just like all the other broccoli here, growing in these little pots, but I saw that these were 2 very strong broccoli, so I decided to transplant them into this bigger pot, just to give them a chance in case, you know, in case these don't do well in these little pots, I wanted to at least get a few of them in a bigger pot and see how they do. And you can see, obviously, they are doing better than my smaller plants. These are a darker green, I would say. The leaves are much bigger, and in general, they're just clearly growing much bigger because they're in a bigger environment. They have more space for their roots. So I wish I had the space to go ahead and transplant them all into bigger pots, or have started them in bigger pots, but I only have 2 grow lights, so I don't have the space to put these all in their own big pot and let them grow. So they'll get transplanted outside pretty soon, so I'm not too concerned about it. The last thing here, so these are both the same. So the strawberries are in both of these little egg containers. So it's the same thing. I will just show you one of them up close. And we'll just do this one. I'm probably gonna have to focus the camera in so that you can see these, because they're tiny. But they're supposed to be tiny. Okay, let's see. So can you see that tiny, tiny, tiny little plant right there? They have not all germinated yet, but I have 3 or 4 in each of these that have germinated. So I would say so far the strawberries, let me focus back. So far the strawberries have been my lowest germination rate. They've been doing the most poorly, and clearly I would say the catgrass, you can't see it, bring you down right there, the catgrass is doing the best, compared especially to the strawberries that have nothing going for them right now. So I will start. I did do, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the bottom watering, where I would pour probably enough water to fill this 1/3 of the way full. Come back 30 minutes later, see what the plants have not soaked up, and then come in and dispose of that water. So that I did a deep watering yesterday. So today I'm just going to come through and make sure that the tops of the soil have a little bit of moisture in them. Because what I planted this in is not a normal soil. I planted them in coconut coir and some vermiculite. So the vermiculite is that is the white oatmeal looking stuff that you see sort of sprinkled within the soil. But the vermiculite is supposed to help retain nutrients and water in the soil or in the mixture. But the coconut coir is the brown, that is the main component here, and it does dry up pretty quickly, so I do have to come through every day and put some water on the top surface here. So again, like I said earlier, what I do, I come through here and just rub the tops of all these plants, run my fingers through them. I don't want to be too rough. I'm not gonna rip them out of their root system or anything, but I want it to be like a little bit of a breeze. So I mentioned earlier also, your plants might get leggy, which would be a very thin stem with not a lot of leaves. And this will help, running your fingers through here will help strengthen their stem, give them a little bit of a thicker stem. And I want to do that with all the plants. I want to do this once or twice a day, and it will help. It does seem a little weird knocking them around, being kind of rough with them, but it will benefit them in the long run. So I do worry when I see them leaning too much. I don't want that. I want them to be standing straight up, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. I've got a lot of really good strong ones going here, so I won't despair. So I will begin. So I have distilled water in here. We do have our own water distiller. So we distill our own water, and I put that here in a glass bottle. It's important that I'm using glass because sometimes with distilled water, you have it in a plastic environment, it soaks up some of the chemicals from the plastic if it is stored in there for a long time. So I'm storing this in glass so I don't have to worry about plastic chemicals ending up on the plants. So I'm going to come through here. I'm not going to try too much to spray on the leaves. I really am focusing on the soil. But I don't mind getting a little bit on the leaves because just like we simulated a windy environment, it's also a good idea to simulate a rainy environment where they will be getting droplets on their leaves. So, you know, that's what we'll do today. We're not going to avoid the leaves. We'll go right on them. So that is a good idea because all of these plants are going outside. And they are going to interact with rain. So I don't want them to be in an absolutely perfect environment in here and get used to that and die as soon as I put them outside. So it is important that I'm a little rough with them sometimes. Tough love, I guess, is what they call it. Just do a general spray. I do come through individually and get each pod like you just saw. But then I do follow up with a little bit of extra because, like I said, this coconut cord does dry out very quickly. I know this is a very simple task here, watching over these plants and watering them each day, giving them a little bit of attention. But it is something that I really do enjoy. When I saw the first sprouts coming up in my garden, which were the first batch of catgrass and some of these cabbage and broccoli, when I saw that, I almost cried like tears of joy. I was like laughing and so excited, telling my sister and my fiance, sending them pictures that the garden was starting to sprout. So this is something that I really enjoy, and something I have considered very much. I think it might be a little too late this year. Unless some of you guys are interested, I will literally mail these to you. But I am thinking, obviously some of the tomatoes and things, I might have grown a few too many. Even if I just have to part with 4 or 5 of each of them. I thought it might be fun to start selling my seed starts online because I have talked to a lot of other people, visited some family members who are trying to start their own seeds indoors, and their seeds aren't looking quite as healthy as mine. I am seeing a lot more leggy plants, dried out, things like that. So, you know, I'm thinking maybe I do have a little bit of a green thumb. So maybe I could start seeds. I think maybe next year I will take orders on something like Etsy, some sort of, you know, or obviously in real life with people that I know. But I thought I might take orders for what people might be wanting, how many they might be interested in, and grow seed starts for people. Try selling them online, and I could do much more. You know, obviously these are all for us right now, or most of them are. These for my fiance's grandma, but most of them are for us, for within the family. But I think next year, like I said, I saw on Etsy people were selling like 3 of these little starts, if they're organic or heirloom, maybe even more cost, but like 3 of them for $14, which, you know, you're gonna get, for the person who buys those 3 plants, you're gonna get an insane amount of produce at the end of the day, way more than you could buy for $14 if you go to the store and buy the actual fruits of your labor. But I could make pretty good money doing that. I think it would be the best thing ever. And if I could eventually start my own greenhouse, like a nursery, and just sell plants for a living, that would be wonderful. But I thought, you know, I could sell the seed starts. I could start up a little farmer's market produce stand in my community and sell directly to people walking by. I can preserve my own foods and sell the canned jams, jellies, preserves, sauces, things like that. So there are a lot of options. So it's pretty exciting. I'm not extremely interested in working at a corporate job for the rest of my life. I really like the idea of finding a way to sustain myself, to stay home, and find a source of income or a way to support myself that way. Obviously, that's a little bit of what I would like for my YouTube channel to be. Since I got monetized, it is so far very small because my channel is so small. But it has been a source of income at least. So the more my channel grows, obviously the more my income can potentially grow here. But, you know, I don't just want to stop. I don't want to stop there. I can do things like selling the plants, and that would make me very, very, very happy. So I just have these last 2 things here. I've already watered the cat grass today, so I will not give that another watering. But like I said, this really is something that I enjoy. I feel very like this is where I belong when I'm doing this. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what a lot of us are supposed to be doing. Growing our own food, creating things, taking care of things. So it does make me very happy. So I'm having a little bit of a problem here with this one, that the leaves are touching the soil, and that is a problem for mold on the leaves, disease, things like that. So I'm going to try and push the soil down a bit, pack it down, and try and keep it away from those leaves. That might not work, and it might go through a little bit of trouble, but that's okay. So this video was obviously super different from what I would typically do, but I hope you guys liked it. I hope you enjoy looking at my little garden here, and hopefully next time you see it, it will be bigger and still alive. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope you guys plant something this year. Go to the store now, go online, find a farmer, whatever, go get some seeds and plant something. It is awesome. It's a good feeling. So I hope you guys can also experience something like this. And I hope you have an awesome day. And I'm gonna cut it out.